Hey y'all, and welcome to the Melanated Chronicles. So today we're going to be talking about YNW Melly and how he's possibly facing the death penalty after murdering two of his friends. So rapper Jamell Demons, also known as YNW Melly, is being held without bond at the Broward County Jail in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So he and Cortland Henry, also known as YNW Bortland, are accused of premeditating the vicious murders of their two friends, 21-year-old Anthony Williams, also known as YNW Sack Chaser, and 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr., also known as YNW Juvie. And if you aren't familiar with YNW Melly, back in 2017, one of his songs, Murder on My Mind, became very popular.
Yellow tape around his body, it's a fucking homicide. His face is on a t-shirt and his family's traumatized. I didn't even need to shoot him, he just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot him twice. His body dropped down to the floor.
So you gotta admit, it is a catchy little tune. So what happened and how did we get here? So on October 26, 2018 at 4:35 a.m., Cortland Henry, or YNW Bortland, showed up to Memorial Miramar's emergency room with his two friends, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. So Bortland was requesting medical assistance for his friends as they had sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the body. So the right front passenger, and there's a reason why I'm telling you the positions of each person in the car, so remember these positions. So the right front passenger, YNW Sack Chaser, sustained gunshot wounds to his torso, head, and neck. The right rear passenger, YNW Juvie, sustained several gunshot wounds to his back and his head. So both victims were sadly pronounced deceased by the medical staff there on the scene. So we all know if you go to the hospital and you're requesting assistance because of some violence that occurred, the police is going to be called and you're going to be questioned. Like, there is no way to get around that. That's just what happens. So, of course, the police come, they talk to Bortland, and they get his statement. And as Bortland explained, that he and his two friends were leaving a late night studio session out at New Era Recording Studio. So Bortland said that they had just passed southwest of 160th Avenue by Dukes Road, and a car pulled up and just started shooting out of nowhere. So Bortland said he ducks on the floorboard while the shots are going off. So after he hears everything quiet down, Bortland looks over and he can tell that his friends are seriously hurt. So he immediately drives over to the hospital, and that's where they are. So the police immediately start their investigation, and they begin to canvass the area that Bortland says the shooting occurred, which was the 16,100 block of Miramar Parkway. So police shut down all movement between 160th Avenue and 172nd Avenue on Miramar Parkway. They looked all over, examined the entire area for evidence. So, red flag number 1. The detectives and officers, literally walked on foot for the 12-block stretch. And guess what? They didn't find a single shred of evidence. Not a shell casing, not a hair. So the cops don't find anything at all. And of course, they had already began processing the car that showed up at the hospital that was bullet riddled, okay? Completely bullet riddled. And they know for a fact that at least a minimum of 8 projectile entry points were on the right side of the exterior, and there was 1 projectile entry point to the rear liftgate of the vehicle. Okay, so with all of these shots, you would definitely expect to see a large amount of shell casings, but nothing at all. So they didn't even get a call of shots fired from that area from anyone at all. No reports from the local community at all. So Of course, this math ain't mathin', okay? And the police began to dig further. So they head over to the New Era studio. When police arrive, they make contact with the manager and they tell him that they need to view the surveillance footage. So while viewing the footage with the officer, the manager does verify that the victims were there at the studio along with Bortland and Jamell Demons, yes, Demons, aka YNW Melly. So police can also see another car in the shot with them, a red Mitsubishi. Getting into the gray Jeep Compass that police initially saw at their emergency room is YNW Bortland getting into the driver's seat. YNW Melly is getting into the left rear. Sack Chaser is getting into the front passenger seat. And Juvie is getting into the rear right side of the vehicle. Following closely behind was the red Mitsubishi, which was occupied by 4 additional people, one later being identified as Dontavius Wither. So now the police have footage, right? And they want to follow up, one, on this previous statement that they received from Bortland, and also talk to the driver of the other vehicle, Dontavius. So police began to make their way over to these individuals, and police asked Dontavius what he recalls about that night. He tells police they had been chilling in the studio and everything, and after they were done, they all left in separate vehicles. So Dontavius said that he and 3 other friends and Melly got into his car and they left. He also said that Bortland, Sack Chaser, and Juvie got into a different car. So once he was confronted with video evidence, Dontavius changed his story, obviously, because the proof is right there. So he then said that Melly was in the gray Jeep at first. And so he says that while he was on his way home, Melly called him through Snapchat that night and asked to be picked up. So he met him in the middle of I-75 near the Sheridan Street exit. After picking up Melly, they then proceeded to Dontavius' apartment. And police was able to corroborate that story based on the timestamps on the security camera footage from Dontavius' apartment. So police then asked him if he knew about Melly's current location. What did Dontavius say? Nope, I ain't saw him. I don't know where he is. So this was later determined to be a lie, as Dontavius had just left another friend's house, who was later identified as Frederick Givens, also known as rapper Frito Bang. Guess who was over there chilling with them too, y'all? Melly. So more detectives are also following up with Bortland to let him know, this new evidence that they've come across. So as soon as he is confronted, he changes his story, because he wants to obviously attempt to match the video footage that police now have. So Bortland tells police, okay, this is what really happened. What happened was Melly was in the car at first. Then, sometime into the ride, Melly got out of the car with him and then entered another vehicle that was driven by someone else. So, police viewed traffic camera footage along the route that Bortland and Dontavius told police they had driven. Police were able to confirm through video footage taken from cameras at 17001 Miramar Parkway, where it shows a red Mitsubishi and a dark colored SUV passing southwest on 172nd Avenue at 3:46 a.m. The red Mitsubishi is shown at 3:49 a.m. going through the gate to Sunset Lakes Apartments, or Dontavius' apartment. Police are getting a lot of new verified information through camera footage, casing, and witness statements. So they really starting to piece everything together and get a picture of what they think really happened. According to court documents, on October 26, 2018, a search warrant was issued for the Jeep Compass that was driven by Bortland. The Jeep had 8 visible bullet holes on the right side of the vehicle. So to break down the positioning of where these bullet holes were, 3 were in the right front passenger side door and 5 were in the right rear passenger door. There was also a significant amount of blood on the interior passenger side of the vehicle. So police also found a single .40 caliber Blazer Smith & Wesson shell casing on the inside of the vehicle floorboard. It was also wrapped inside a white plastic bag. So, do you all want to take a guess as to where they found this shell casing? They found the shell casing in the left rear floorboard of the car. Who was sitting there? YNW Melly. So, also upon discovering this shell casing, it completely contradicts what Bortland told the police about the drive-by. So, that's not how guns work, as the shell casings usually are dispersed in the general area of the weapon. Police believe the victims were shot inside the car. They believe that the bullets on the outside are just staged to make it look like a drive-by occurred. So this is the case because the victims' bodies showed that their wounds were consistent from a left to right motion. Sack Chaser's headshot entry wound has a 3-centimeter stippling pattern around it. So this means that there was a distance from anywhere between 3 inches to 3 feet between the victim and the shooter. So police subpoenaed and a search warrant was issued for the social media sites and cell phone records of those involved. From Snapchat, police were not able to locate the call that Dontavius stated he received from Melly that night. However, they were able to place Melly, Bortland, Sack Chaser, and Juvie in the car together. Dontavius' phone location pinged a short distance away, which shows that he wasn't traveling too far behind. So Dontavius continued to drive home, like he said, which was verified by the video footage. The Jeep Compass was traveling west in the 19200 block at 3:53 a.m. and it returned eastbound at 4:06 a.m. So the cell tower data shows that all 4 occupants were at the same location at the same time, okay? This location had not been previously mentioned by anyone at all up to this point. So of course, police and CSI, a K9 unit, and everyone, so they can figure out what happened at this location. So boom, they get on the scene. And the K9 unit immediately alerts the officers to an area. Once the officers make their way to that area, they discover 8 .40 caliber Blazer Smith & Wesson shell casings, a match to the exact shell casing that they found on the floorboard of the vehicle. So after continuously going through all the new evidence in the new crime scene that they've established, they discovered that the vehicle had been stopped there for some time as the shots were going off. Glass that's consistent with the front and rear windows of the Jeep Compass was also discovered in this area. So, police say that everything they've shown, the videos, the cell phone data, the new crime scene, that all of this shows that Melly and Bortland were driving around from 4:06 a.m. to 4:32 a.m. with the bodies of their friends in the car. Because at 4:32 a.m., that's the last time that Melly's cell phone ping separated from everyone else. So this is also where police believe that Melly and Bortland are getting their story together, that they're going to tell police. Because remember, Bortland didn't arrive to the ER until 4:35 a.m. So the Snapchat warrant revealed that there were no communications between Dontavius and Melly. So Dontavius told the truth about his time frame, and police were able to verify him showing up at home at that time. However, Melly was never in a car with him, but he made a statement to police saying that he was. Cell phone records also show that Melly sent a couple of messages a few hours after the murders. One said, quote, "I did that," end quote. A couple minutes after, another message followed sent by Melly stating, "Shh." On December 4th, 2018, Melly released a 21-minute documentary on YouTube. The final screen of that documentary reads, quote, 4 days after the completion of this film, YNW Melly and his friends were targets of a drive-by shooting in Miami, Florida, end quote. Of course, law enforcement watched this documentary, and that statement at the end of that film placed Melly at the scene of the crime and in his own words. On February 13th, 2019, YNW Melly was arrested and charged with 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder. He is currently being held without bond. There is a hearing in the case scheduled for April 19th, 2022 at 9 a.m. If evidence proves they're guilty, this means that they murdered 2 of their closest friends. I mean, they were so close, so much so that YNW Melly has a tattoo of Sack Chaser's mom's name on his neck. You will see the letters Jana, which is Jana or Janae, and that's Sack Chaser's mom. Sack Chaser's mother also said that her son called her a few days before his murder, and he was very upset. He was saying that he probably wasn't going to get his large sum of money, which was over 6 figures. During this call, her son also stated that he was very concerned for her safety and the safety of her daughter, or his sister. There was a leaked video obtained by Complex.com that shows YNW Melly's mom allegedly responding to a threat that she received via text from YNW Sack Chaser. This video leaked about a month after Melly was arrested.
Show me text messages from Sack Chaser threatening all her friends and all these people. Like, he's about this life. But I'm saying, like, who the fuck you ever robbed? Who the fuck you ever shot at? What the fuck you ever did? Nigga, you couldn't even take a fucking weed charge. If you don't sit your pussy ass down, and don't ever come for me. Because my credentials is real. It ain't even a joke. So don't ever try to come for me. Because I don't even play them type of games. Like, what the fuck you got that I ain't got? Oh, you threaten me with your little gun? Bitch, I got big guns. At the end of the day, Melly is my child. And he is gonna be great because he's talented. He's talented because his mom, not because your little fuck ass, retarded ass.
Prosecutors have already filed with the courts their intent to seek the death penalty. They are seeking death as this shows a cold and calculated premeditated murder. Prosecutors also plan to prove YNW Melly's gang affiliation and incorporate that into handing down a sentence of death. They are using his music, videos, and even tattoos to prove his gang affiliation. Police also obtained a text message in which was sent from Melly's phone that states his oath of allegiance to the United Blood Nation. Bortland is facing the same charges. Also, a few other individuals are facing charges that are similar to hindering an investigation. So thank you all so much for joining us here today. And please be sure to tune in on the next episode of the Melanated Chronicles, where we will investigate the lyrics behind a very popular social media song. This style is basically, allegedly, rival ops making songs about the murders they've committed. I'm sure you've heard this song.
With the 50 round, knock you straight off. 50 count on your head, let that bag talk. I'ma walk him down, ain't no standoff. Niggas playing hard, but he really soft. Prosper got shot. Tate got shot. Desert got dropped. Damn. Nate got popped. Damn. Leaky got shot. Well, damn. Splash face hot. On game. Corbin got kidnapped. They found his bones. He was right. Where's Corbin? Meet you.
So that was a snippet of the Beatbox remix by Fulio. So, where is Corbin? Where did they find his body? Who are the others mentioned? And how were they found? Were their bodies ever found? I don't know. You got to come back to find out, right? Thank you so much again for joining me. I've been your host, Brittany. Until next time, I wish you peace and happiness. Bye, y'all.